Hello fellow YouTubers, MagmaLegend here with the beta of Minecraft Dungeons. Now Minecraft Dungeons is basically a dungeon crawl action adventure role playing game. This game really caught my attention mainly because it is something completely new towards Minecraft, but also because of the content it shows in both the trailer and on the website, and it shows great promise that this game is going to be really good. This game drawn me in even more when I played the tutorial. It was a really good introduction to the game. The whole combat system, the whole instructions, easy to understand, easy to use, same with the movement, attacking enemies, everything was very easy to understand in the game. The game also looks really nice as well, how they all made all the structures, fighting through the village in the tutorial, everything. They've done a really good job in the tutorial. At the end of the tutorial, they even made an area for a little camp where you can invite your friends to group up before you start the next mission, which was a really good feature. You can also prepare yourself with any items you have collected, as well as leveling up, as well as trading for both weapons and artifacts, which are both really good features, and that they use emeralds as currency towards that, which I thought was really good as well. The two missions that they put into the beta was really good, Creepy Woods and Pumpkin Pastures. These two missions are really different, but at the same time really satisfying. Both these missions have their own unique locations in both exploration and combat areas and everything. The exploration is really good in the game because you can find hidden chests everywhere, which will inspire players to get more involved in exploring in order to get themselves the more powerful gear to survive later on in the game. The objectives for each mission is really easy to understand as well, whether it's saving villagers, fighting off a wave of enemies, whatever. It is really enjoyable to play and to be part of the mission. Now you do have a mechanic where you can dodge out of the way of enemy attacks. This is really useful, especially when you are fighting up against massive groups of enemies. Even fighting up against massive groups of enemies, the game is still very enjoyable to the player, especially challenging when certain combination of enemies are together. For instance, spiders and creepers. Spiders can easily use their webs to keep you in place, so then the creepers can move up and basically blow you up. That can be really terrifying in a situation like that, especially when there's massive groups of them. They also added the sorcerer into the mix. Now a sorcerer is really weak, easy to kill, no problem at all. The only problem is that the sorcerer has the ability to level up other enemies around them, and if you leave that happening for too long, they get really powerful and really hard to kill. So when sorcerer's about, you're going to have to be really quick in taking them out, or else you're just going to be in a lot of trouble, even if you're playing with friends online. Some enemies that we may encounter are already enchanted. These enemies have increased damage and health. They also have a certain ability. For example, they can have electrical damage, which can cause damage to the player if they get too close to them within melee distance. Now moving towards the items, you can get items for melee weapons, ranged weapons, armor, and many different artifacts. For the melee, range, and armor, they all have their own unique skills. They could be the same types of armor and items you collected multiple times, but each one will have their own separate skill that you can choose from using the skill points that you gained each time you level up. These are really useful. However, you cannot do the same with the artifacts, but the artifacts themselves are still really useful. They can be used to move faster, they can be used for crowd control, they can be used to take enemies out with much greater damage from a distance. It can be near enough anything. Some artifacts even just increases your own stats as well for a short period of time, which is really useful. Now referring back to the exploration, they did add one feature which I did like about it. In the first mission, the Creeper Woods, there is a location which you have to discover before you can do a side mission called Creepy Crypt. Creepy Crypt, when I played it, it was quite a big map. There were a hell of a lot of enemies to fight, even with other players helping you out. Creepy Crypt is also a really good example of certain objects you can interact with the game as well. Levers to open up gates, for example. Mainly because there are certain switches or skeleton heads that you can interact with, which initiates a wave of enemies to fight you, and at the end of each wave you get a chest of some description. Whether it's a small chest or a big chest, you do get some kind of reward. This is a really good feature, not just because of the rewards and the fact that you get more experience to level up, but mainly because this will keep other players in the group staying together in order to survive and win over their enemies. They also have a teleportation system, so if one player gets too far out from the group, they can easily teleport back. However, you can still teleport to players that has been taken out, which defeats the object of another feature, which is 30 seconds till night harms you. Now this feature mainly has been added just so other players will have to stick together in order to revive one another, but if you can teleport to a down player straight away, it kind of defeats the object about that. So teleportation feature, good overall to get back to your group, but you shouldn't be able to teleport to down players. Now during these 30 seconds, mobs will just randomly spawn within a certain proximity to the down player, so other players will have to fight off the enemies as they are trying to revive. Now when the 30 seconds were up, we only got a slight glimpse of one of the players being attacked by something. Best guess probably one of the nightmares from the original Minecraft game. Now another thing they've added to the game, which I noticed playing Creepy Crypt a fair amount of times, is that each time you play the mission, the start and the end are the same, but the rest of the map has altered a bit. This is a really good feature, I think, because yeah, the players may have played the map a couple more times and they're familiar with the objectives still being the same and everything, but the map is still different in some description. Whether it's just one section or multiple sections has changed, this still changes the map, so that way players will not be able to know the map off by heart. This is a really good feature also in terms of exploration. You can also have a map while you're playing, showing you where you've been, but as well as showing other locations. Good side, you won't get lost. Bad side about it, I think in areas you haven't explored, they should not add the detail of it being a corridor or a big room. So that way, the players are more likely to explore it so they can see, is it just a dead end, or is it a big room, or is it just a massive group of mobs waiting for us? We don't know. It just adds that bit more excitement to the exploration side. But you also get equipped with a health potion if your health gets too low, which has been a really handy tool, especially against powerful enemies or big groups. Even if you have a full squad of players, you tend to lose health very quickly, no matter what level you are. Now the one thing Pumpkin Pastures does have that Creeper Woods and Creepy Crypt doesn't is mini bosses. Now this mission is the only mission where we do face quite decent powerful enemies, and they have their own unique abilities. I think we face up against 2 separate mini bosses throughout the mission, can't quite remember, but again that mission is really satisfying in its own way, and it's got really nice structures as well as boats and other buildings. There's also a hidden door on the mission as well, which we hadn't quite figured out how to open. Well, that's assuming that it is a hidden door, but that shows that obviously the game has a lot more locations still yet to be explored. Overall, this game is really good, really nice, very enjoyable, very satisfying. Seriously recommend you get in the game. This game is due to come out May the 26th this year, and I believe 2 DLCs are also planned to follow it up afterwards, so there's going to be plenty of more weapons, items, content, artifacts, probably a lot more different type of enemies, missions, side missions, quests, near enough everything they can add on, and they could probably even take it a step further by adding even more to the game that they haven't yet said. So I hope this video was really good to you, and I hope you do like the video. If so, do hit the like button. Also subscribe to keep updated for future videos I may upload in the future. Also leave in the comments below if this video was helpful in any way at all or not. I would really like your opinion on this. Thank you for listening. This is Magmolegend. Until next time, my fellow YouTubers.